All right. Can you hear us? We are back. Have you done a podcast? I'm going to stop this one here.
So we have, yet another person who's from multiple places.
Yeah.
And not just one country.
Yeah.
So let me introduce you guys. Joana, Sankalp Joana.
Wow. Reached out to her. She said yes. And here we are talking to each other. So, all right. We'll see you soon.
Hi.
Hello.
Joana. It's so nice to see you.
Likewise.
Have you done a podcast or never?
Nothing like I
Nothing like-
don't even take videos with sound on or talking. I don't like the sound of my voice. That's why
Well, that's me as well.
I kind of avoid.
That's everyone, okay? When you listen to your own voice on a recorder or whatever on a video.
It's like even when we play these videos back, I'm like, I don't want to listen to when I'm talking. If the other person's talking, that's great. So let me introduce you guys. Joana, Sankalp Joana.
Wow.
Yeah.
For me, I saw you on Instagram.
Oh, of
So,
course.
yeah.
Yeah. Unknowingly or knowingly, we all know each other some or the other way because, it's the social media family now, right? It's a big tree.
I'm gonna begin by trying to introduce Joana.
Okay.
The thing
The
is,
first question is, how do you guys know each other?
so I know Joana because of our mutual friend Ines, and I know nothing else about her. I'm gonna. I mean, we both don't really know much of each other's lives.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like practically nothing except for what we see on social media. But I do know that Joana is a very loving person who will always support girls. I love that about her. And she's very warm. She's like very, sunshiny. And I love the energy that she brings. And even though we've never spoken, I already feel like she's a friend or, someone just I can reach out to. And I think professionally, she's a model because if you look at all the pictures on Instagram, we're going to see a few more pictures as well later. So you'll get what I mean. She's basically a professional model.
The part where you
So-
said that you already know she's a close friend, I can see that because you reached out to her. She said yes, and here we are talking to each other. So talking to us from Berlin. Yeah, I was asking her which part of Germany are you in? And yeah.
It's Berlin, and well, I am a third German, so there's the relation there.
Yeah. So you are born and brought up in Berlin.
I was born in Peru, lived there like maybe a year of my life, the first year of my life.
Okay.
And my mother is Brazilian, so
Ooh.
there's kind of my
How many-
father's
How many years in Peru? How many years were you
in
there?
Peru, not even a year.
Okay, so you don't remember your childhood.
Time, yeah, in Peru.
Oh, okay.
No,
Is Berlin the longest or the longest
big-
place you've stayed at?
now it is. Actually,
yeah.
now it is because it used to be Mexico. So I lived there for a while, for 5 years. But in
Okay.
Berlin, now I'm here for about 7 years.
Okay, so we are neighbors then. I come from Texas, which is neighboring to Mexico. So
It's going to be a very interesting episode because I've realized we have, yet another person who's from multiple places.
Yeah.
And not just one country.
Yeah.
So the
someone like us who doesn't probably belong to their hometown,
Yeah,
and then just trying to figure out where do they fit in which part of the world. So
I think everybody kind of is searching where they come from or where they feel at home. Maybe
Yeah.
it's not one place. Even if you were born and grew up there, you don't feel 100% you belong
Absolutely.
there.
yeah, I mean, I guess all of us feel that way about some place or another.
yeah. It's not about where you are born anymore. It's like the people you are around, and
That makes
your partner and
A
your
lot of difference.
the workplace that you go to, and the career that you continue to go on, right?
So
Yeah.
Joanna, which brings me back to, are you really a professional model? Because I like to believe.
No, I'm not modeling, and I'm way too small, by the way, for that. And well, it's not my thing. I do it for fun, especially with one friend of mine. It kind of helped me with my self-confidence. So we started with a very cheap hobby and took pictures, and it also helped me with my self-confidence.
I think this is going to be a unique episode because the previous friends that we talked to, they were like international students who flew across the world, to pursue an education in like Australia, Ireland, and different places. But I think for you, you were like born and brought up in, not born in Germany, but you had your majority of your education in Germany, is it, or some other place?
No, I was actually born in Peru. Then we moved to Brazil, and
Right.
I also lived in Guatemala, Mexico, South
Okay.
Africa. I moved around a lot because my father is a diplomat.
Oh, okay.
So that's the life we have. And because of my studies, I didn't start right away with my studies,
Okay.
but because I want to keep going that way. I want to travel, see the world, learn about different cultures, and do
Right.
that professionally. I kind of want to do the same as my father and become a diplomat. That's also why I moved to Germany then,
Okay.
to Berlin, because it's a very international city. And
Okay.
I started studying China studies. So to go to learn another language in my studies and learn everything that has to do with China in this case. And
Okay.
I want to start there with the master's degree, because
Right.
then you can become kind of work all
Okay.
over the world. And
Alright.
I chose to get to know a new culture because I
Right.
kind of grew up in Latin America. I also saw some parts of Africa, and I
Right.
do know the culture in Europe. And
Mm.
now I know something, learn something new. And China seemed like something something important to know for the future: the language, the people, the
Right.
amount of people that are there.
What about India? Is India on your map?
Well, I do want to go to India, and I do want to get to know India, especially when you do know people from there. I think it's better to know the country by the people that live there, because knowing a country, getting to know a country through your own eyes, it's I don't know. I think
Yeah.
you get too much driven by what the touristic branch
Yeah.
shows
Yeah.
you. You don't
Absolutely.
get
Yeah.
to know the real country, the real India.
Right.
So yeah, hopefully one day I get to see India.
Yeah, that's so true. Like the first impressions, I don't really like that the quote which says, first impression is like a very important one, because when you go for an Indian trip and you're there for a week, and whatever you see during that week cannot be your experience, about India,
It is
for a long term,
so
right? Yeah.
extremely
Yeah.
diverse, and it's just the tip of the iceberg,
Yeah.
like 1 week is not it. It's a huge country.
Yeah.
So
Anywhere it might be, like just 1 week,
yeah,
you might meet people, who haven't given you a positive vibe, and another week you come to India in a different weather or season, and you might find a different experience, right? So
I
yeah,
think
like you
it's fit
said,
for all countries.
yeah, like talking to people there, talking to people coming from India who are born there, and
Gives
then
you
again, like different parts of India, right? People in the north will tell you different experiences, people in the south of India will tell you different experiences, completely, north and south pole, right? So yeah, that's very important to also understand. But going back to the word diplomat, so I don't know much about what a diplomat is, but are you going to be representing a single country, or how does that work? Like wherever you go, you
Yes,
present.
Germany in the world. So
Okay.
I do feel more German, maybe. I know
Okay.
I do not like a German. Many people do they see me and it's like, okay, Latin America. Or
Mhm.
maybe here in Germany, there are so many Turkish people and so many people from Arabic countries
Right.
and from also South Europe and North Africa, and they always think I'm from there. And I'm like,
Right.
no, it's cool if you know the language and everything, but since I did get a lot of the chance to see a lot, to have the privilege to learn a lot of languages, because
Right.
my mother tongue is not only German, it's Portuguese and Spanish too. And of course, there's also English. It's kind of the first language everybody speaks
Okay.
besides their tongue.
Joanna, how many languages do you know? Let's count the languages now. You said
Well,
German, Portuguese.
German, Portuguese, Spanish, then English. I did learn a bit of French in school, and now I'm picking it up in university again.
Right.
I
Right.
started with a bit of Italian, and of course, because of my studies, I am studying Chinese too, but
7
it's not quick of a language to learn.
Right. Yeah.
And well, the last language I just started was Turkish because my boyfriend is Turkish and he's learning Spanish for me, so I'm learning a bit of Turkish for him.
That is
So-
adorable. That is so cute. I love that.
And we can, I think we can teach you like 5 to 10 languages from India. Just from India, we can teach you about 5 languages. So
That'll be 15 maybe.
yeah, 10 to 15 languages. Perfect. I think that's what a diplomat needs, right?
Yeah.
To be able to, blend in wherever he or she goes, right? So you're doing that not just by the languages, but also by your experiences that you're talking about, that you've been to so many places, and not just to enjoy those places, but also to learn the culture and talk to people, and those kind of conversations, right?
Mhm.
That will help you with your degree. Obviously, you're having fun, and also you're focusing on your long-term goal. That is beautiful. But what are you doing? Like, are you studying so you completed your master's degree, or you're still doing it?
Not yet, not yet.
Okay.
I'm still
And what
at it.
program is it?
Well, it's China studies is you do have political well, you
Mhm.
have to have political skills and language skills and also society skills. They do teach you everything concerning German-Chinese relations.
Mhm.
But to become a diplomat, usually you do not need precisely a certain degree in a certain form. You
Right.
just need to, depending on the level you want to become. If I want to become the head of an embassy overseas, I do need to have a master's degree because you go through the school, the studies of the Auswärtige Amt.
Right.
It's called. They do train you for it, and then
Okay.
they send you overseas to have the experience. And every maybe 3 to 4 years, you move around. They usually say, okay, two countries overseas, then you come back to Berlin because it's the capital,
Right.
and then you go overseas. Or as my father got
Mm.
got the chance, he even got 5 countries overseas, and then now he's back here in Germany and he hopes to go overseas again.
Wow. So I was going to ask you, like, so your inspiration or your you wanted to become, or you chose this path is because majorly it's because of your dad, right? And but before you did your master's degree, did you pursue any other education that is helping your journey to becoming a diplomat? Like did you do another degree before your master's program? Yeah.
No, actually, I did not. Before
Okay.
that, I just finished my Abitur, that's called. It's the 12, 13-year system we have in Germany, and
Right.
then you really study everywhere in
Okay.
Germany. In Europe in general, it's you're highly qualified. It's the 12, 13 years that we have. But I
Okay.
did go to school, not in Germany, but I did visit schools in Guatemala, in Africa, and in Mexico.
Okay.
And there I went to school because everybody thinks, okay, were you born here? Did you visit your school here? And I'm like, no, I came after I finished school. I even went for a year to Rio, where my parents already had moved with my sisters. I kind of moved out when I was 18 because I didn't want to switch schools for the last school year. So
Right.
that's the first thing to
Right.
do. Not being with the 5 constants, the 5 constant people in my life, the 4 people in that case that always were there. That was like moving out.
Yeah.
And then I reunited with them in Rio. And well, my parents never pressured us to look for a place to study right away, because
Right.
we all had in mind, okay, if I'm gonna work like till I'm 80 maybe, I do want to have fun before. So I traveled around Brazil a bit for a
Right.
while. And
Okay.
yes, and moved to Berlin to start my studies. So, well, to see the country also and start with my studies.
And
Yes.
you mentioned, what is the name of your university?
Yeah, your program that you're doing now.
Yeah.
Freie Universität Berlin. It's the Free University of Berlin.
You make it sound very fun and exciting.
Like an adventure.
Yeah, like how is it to be in like various places? Like I don't think everyone has that. It's not everyone's cup of tea to keep traveling and to adjust to that environment, and and
you have to have like amazing adaptability skills.
Yeah, because
just
at least me, I like to be comfortable in a location and settle down for a certain amount of time, right? But with your career or the goals that you have, this sounds like something you'd have to be on the go always. Like, so I mean, I think you do you love traveling, the planes, the layovers, the airports,
the packing?
Yeah, the packing. Oh my god, the packing. You just have a bag.
I do not like.
You must always have like a carry-on or a backpack with you, ready to go, right? Oh my god, I have to go here today. So
you would think it's difficult, but I don't know it any other way. It's my norm. It's how I grew up. I never knew something. I don't know what it means to be that long in one place.
Yeah.
What I learned, it widens your horizon. You do get to meet new people, new culture, get the chance to learn a language in the country they speak it. So it's different. It helps you, for example, studying Chinese and never being in China. I've never been in China. It's more difficult because you do not need the language to survive. You just have it in your language course. But I did Spanish, Portuguese, German, and also English because I wasn't living in a country where that language was spoken. So you do need to interact with people and you need to apply that language.
Right.
And that's also an advantage. As I said, it kind of widens your horizon. I do understand. Well, I have more friends that are mixed, that lived everywhere in the world, or at least love to travel, and are very open-minded and very tolerant.
Right.
Yes, pizza, and the next one is more with the waffles and pancakes and everything that they have is Spreegold, called Spreegold. And well,
I'm not even going to try to say that because I know I'm going to mess up.
Yes. And well, very typical here in Berlin is that you have absolutely everything here. And also very good for people who live as vegans, well, eat vegan, because you can find absolutely everything here. I have many friends that eat vegan food, that try not to eat meat or products of animals. So it's kind of a luxury here in Berlin that you can find absolutely everything.
Also ties back to what Joanna said earlier, is that Berlin is an international city. Another thing that I've heard, which I know, I mean, other than the beer that Germany is famous for and, the Oktoberfest and stuff, but I've heard that Germans love bread. Is that true? And
yes, they love bread, and we have a huge variety of bread. We have so many different forms of bread. We're very well known for that. But the funny thing, you just said Oktoberfest and beer and pretzel and everything. Everything that you mentioned there comes more from the south of Germany, from Bavaria. And well, my father is from Bavaria. And in Bavaria, let's say the north of Germany is different than Bavaria. Bavaria is more strict, more punctual, more clean. It's unique. It's like
that's everywhere, even in India.
Yeah, it's very beautiful there, very nice, but it's different from the north, and especially very different from Berlin. If somebody asked me what was home, which place is home for you, or where do you feel at home, it's it's not a place I can say.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
People that make it a home. It's the people by themselves. I can go anywhere with my group of people, my my family, my friends, because they're kind of at the end of the day the family I chose.
Right.
And the place it's gonna be amazing because I'm gonna take them with me and travel the world, or they can visit. And I think that's how I feel about it.
I think, Joanna, so similarly, like you,
Yeah.
I also grew up in multiple places. And I think that really sort of gives me a different perspective to how I see things than someone who has lived in one place for a very long time.
She's no less than a diplomat either. She had a little background in UK, and then she has India, of course, and then now Canada, and then China education.
So yeah, just moving around a
Yeah.
lot, I think sort of like you said, it keeps your mind so open. And even I think in the last 2 years, I've sort of been on so many flights, I can't even keep count, and so much packing and unpacking and moving to different places.
Yeah.
But I think that's I don't like getting too comfortable in a place. And then versus someone like him, he's like, oh no, I was born and brought up in the same place for 16 years. So that place is, home.
Yeah. The beautiful part about life and everything, right? It gives you these moments and opportunities to rediscover a meaning to a particular word like home, or a sentence that is, has a certain meaning from where you come from. But when you come to a different part of the world, it's looked completely different, right? The perception of that particular thing or concept.
And that's what leads to growth. Because if you don't have that open mindset, and if you just sort of want to stay in one place,
right?
No judgment. I mean, that's also pretty great life.
Yeah, that is not a bad life, but
it's very different. It would be different than someone like Joanna or I, who are like ready to just leave tomorrow. Chose that.
Do you have any favorite dishes or food over there?
It sounds weird, but I like Japanese. Well, sushi is Japanese, but I like Mexican sushi because they kind of make it differently like that. The idea from the Japanese, it is sushi. It looks like sushi, but they kind of do it with a lot of cheese and fish also, but they also kind of make it unhealthier than the Japanese.
This is what I want. First of all, I'd like to say that I don't appreciate sushi or like it as much.
I love sushi.
Because, I had a bad experience the first time I ate it. But now that you say the Mexican flavor, cheese, I'm like, oh my God, this is what I was missing on sushi. That is what is complete. When you add some cheese, some spices, and make it,
that's what what you want sushi to be.
Make it an Indian dish eventually. It's interesting to put yourself out there, not just explore what your eyes can see, but also the mind is evolving with all these experiences. Your taste palette is changing. The body is completely hybrid, right? Like,
I can't imagine.
Going through so many situations and people and cultures and backgrounds.
I always thought, okay, the one thing for sure I want is a career, but I have to love it because I want to do it for the rest of my life. I want to keep working. And there's also the joke between my boyfriend and me, if somebody has to be the housewife, it's gonna be him, not me. So
no, I absolutely adore and I love it the way you put it. But also, I love how you said you have so many more things to do. You said you visited 26 countries, and this is nothing. That's the spirit, right? I hope we do meet, because we have plans of visiting Europe and all of that. So maybe we meet Ines, you and everyone. And but in another episode in the future, maybe we'll talk about all the other countries that you visited and the experiences you had.
We don't even know if Joanna will be in Berlin at the time.
Yeah, we don't even know. Yeah.
Life, I got lucky because there was never something missing. I never had the fear of not getting food for a day. I always had clothes. I had the luxury of visiting very good schools, private schools, and overseas, because here in Germany, it's like that. They have to give you the same chance of education for the children of diplomats. So it's often like that in any country besides Germany, and a few exceptions. The public, the eyes of them, well, in Germany, private schools and private universities are not that well looked at, but internationally seen, it's better to go there. And I always also in the schools I went to in Mexico, for example, we also helped a lot of NGO. Well, we helped a lot of people and tried to help maybe save the turtles, and we made a trip out of it and flew to the beach and helped there. And we also helped people that had disadvantages. We cleaned the streets, and I liked that they integrated that because we had a lot. We also had better chances to becoming, I don't know, successful people and stepping into the shoes of our parents. And here, the nice thing is everybody gets mixed on the street. Well, the social ladder, the social differences aren't that big. But I don't know, maybe they are not that concerned of the problems that are that exist in third world countries. And well, I don't know, but the Germans, even if they are not able to go to work, they do get a lot of help from the state. And they don't see it like that, and they always that's the German way I do not like. They always criticize everything, even though being poor here in Germany, it's something completely different than being poor overseas. I saw countries in Africa. My parents also lived in Angola. I also saw how it was in Angola and South Africa. I drove through Namibia, Botswana, Mozambique, and also in Latin America, Mexico, Guatemala, also in Brazil, and in Peru. Those are very poor countries when they're poor people, and if you give them something, they kind of take it. They're very grateful for it. We do have huge differences between the social status. It's kind of different. Poor overseas, you're really poor. You don't know you're gonna survive till the next day. And here it's like you're poor, you can't travel. That's the difference, because you do get help from this. And it's a good social structure, but we should learn to be thankful and be more accepting of help and not that proud.
Even in India, poverty is such a predominant issue, and even public transportation, like just as you mentioned, it I immediately see public transportation in India is so different than public transportation in Canada, for example. Now
people are actually embarrassed to do the same things, to do the same things that you're doing abroad. If you do that back home, they feel embarrassed and feel like that is only for lower class people.
Like you said, the social status sort of comes into play. And people, like, I love what you said. You shouldn't be proud when you need to accept help or ask for it.
But Joanna, I'm gonna push you on this and manifesting this for you, that write a book. When you're flying, when you have like a 2-hour flight or something, just start writing
maybe if you start now, and then in a few years you might feel like, oh, let me look back at what I've done.
And then make a book, do a book. Okay, this is like so many memories, 26 countries, 26 chapters of that book that will tell you various experiences. Just start writing it somewhere. I know these memories will always be fresh because they are very unique, and you're making differences in so many people's lives. But just put it down on a pen and paper. Maybe, I don't know if you already are doing it, but pictures, videos are good, but those thoughts that are there on that particular day will not be the same 10 years later, right? So if you can pen down. But I'm looking forward to that book a video channel or a website, a blog explaining,
I think the real reason why he's saying this is because he wants another episode with
yeah, I'm definitely gonna have another conversation. Both of us will have a conversation with you in person. I'm manifesting
hopefully,
this,
yeah.
with your partner, maybe all of us, Enos and everyone get together and, go out and have fun. But this has been very beautiful. Like you said, Instagram is just the pretty side of it, but what happens in the background is so much hard work. Going to that place, taking that picture, there's a long journey when, the destination is something you see on Instagram, not the journey, right? So this has been beautiful. All right, that was a long, beautiful conversation.
To, the next question, Joanna, do you ever feel like it's been a challenge to sort of because I feel it even now, I feel this, that I don't necessarily belong to one place,
Yeah.
So
I do feel like
Yeah, where are you
from? It
Yeah,
takes me like 5 minutes.
that question. I can't answer that question. It's like where I was born, where I lived most of my life, where my parents come from. So it's kind of my ethnicity. What do you mean with that question? Where I feel at home? It's difficult to answer. Such a simple question. It's difficult to answer for us, I think. So
any advice as such that you would give to someone who's pursuing your path, maybe, or your own younger self, something you might have done differently, something you would tell that person? Yeah.
Well, I like who I am right now, and I think everything I lived through and experienced and heard, good or bad, made me the person I am today.
Oh, yes,
and
absolutely.
I know I'm not there yet. I haven't achieved what I want in life. I'm not the best version of myself, but I want to become that person, also keeping in mind that I want to be a good example for my children. I want to be a good human being, a good partner, a good friend. Becoming the best version of myself, I had to live through it. I have to still live through a lot. And well, I wouldn't actually change anything, because then I would change the outcome if I change the past. So I would actually, some people take a lot more time to get where they have to be, but if you get there, it doesn't matter in what speed speed you take. The direction is more important than the speed, I think. So
even if it's Germany where there are no speed limits, and even if it's like India, there's like a billion, other things, everyone will get there eventually, but it just takes different times for different people. But I guess something I heard from what you said is never settle, and always, always be ready to, explore, get out there, and
keep improving yourself. Like just
exactly.
I was going to say, don't settle for anything less. This is not enough for you. This is just the beginning. Imagine 5 years ago, all of this, what you did today, is like so many things. If you tell your 18-year-old self or 21-year-old self that you would do all of this, you might not believe it. But and then now you did everything that you did. So
and still continue to do as well.
So this is insane. This has been incredible to walk through your life journey. It feels like I've been all around the world
just by talking.
Just talking to you, which is what you want to do in life, right? Represent something, represent a country or some population of the world, right? Which is what you're doing. You're doing it perfectly. We know you'll achieve everything that you want to achieve. I thought maybe there are only 26 countries in the world. So there's like so many more countries out there that you want to explore. So
I love how today's conversation, not only have I learned so much about Joanna, which is just the cherry on top for me, but everything else that you've said and that we've talked about today has sort of made me look inward. Like everything that you said, I was like, this is such a wonderful thing to consider. Am I doing it? Or I hope to be this way even 5 years later or 10 years in the future.
Yeah.
So thank you. I can't thank you enough, honestly. It's been such a lovely experience to sort of see who you are behind
Yeah.
social media, the pictures that I see.
Yeah.
And yeah, like all of us, you are so much more, and we all have so many things to achieve.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah, the idea of this conversation was, for people to understand and listen in to various experiences. What you show doesn't always mean something, and hopefully this conversation about what you're doing in your life and the contributions you're doing as a volunteer, or all the life experiences you've lived, the places you've traveled, and your ultimate goal and everything, your careers and your paths that you took will 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 help out another listener some or the other way.
I'm sure it'll
Yeah.
inspire someone.
Yeah.
I feel so inspired already.
Yeah, if someone wants to become
That's nice to hear.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, but if someone wants to take your path, maybe after listening to this conversation, maybe we're creating a career for them. So hopefully it helps out at least one person. This is what I keep saying. If it makes at least one person's difference, it made a difference in my life. I don't know about Mouni. It did, I think.
For
It
sure.
made a difference in both of our lives as hosts of this episode talking to you. Then that is good enough for me. So but yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time
I
to
thank
sit
you.
down and share your private experiences, private moments from your life. Not just the best, but also the delicate and the unseen footages of your life. And yep, this was beautiful. Hopefully another episode,
So
some
before
yeah.
we forget,
Oh yeah,
do you have any quote or any sort of saying that you love?
from Germany. I mean,
it could be from any of the
unfair.
countries.
It's unfair to ask you from Germany, but anywhere from where you've seen or where you've been to, a mantra or a life
Or a
quote,
local,
yeah, that keeps you going,
saying,
or that caught your attention, and that's something that stuck to your heart for a long time.
A quote. That's so
Yeah.
difficult. But it's more like just that sentence that stayed with me for the last couple of years. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, being somebody else or the duplicate of somebody else, it doesn't make sense. People should
Right.
like you for who you are, and you should live your life. If you don't hurt anybody, just be yourself and try to be good, try to help people. I mean, try to make a difference. As you said, if you just touch one life with something good, it makes all the difference. If each and every one of us helps one person, the world would be a better place. And
it's a dominoes effect, right? You're affecting one person and it affects another person. And being yourself also is very, very nice, because what you're today as yourself is completely different for what you'll be tomorrow, and 5 years from now, and 10 years from now. That keeps changing, being yourself. So yeah, very, very well said.
Important to remember at all times.
Yeah.
Be true to us. Yeah. Thank you so much, Joana. This is honestly, as I said, I cannot thank you enough. This has been wonderful. And I hope that, when this does come out, it truly does make a difference to someone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already you've made a difference in 2 people's lives today.
But with that, I already won. And it was nice meeting with you guys and meeting you like this. Maybe we will meet somewhere in the future in person. And I love to hear from you through Instagram and everything. And I love what you guys do.
Staying in touch now onwards. And thank you so much. I'm at a loss for words because that's all I want to say. Just thank you.